Jared?
I've got some overlap with some of what Gerald said. Would you like me to kind of go over everything I've got, or just try to?
I would just go over the ones that you have that possibly Gerald doesn't have.
Okay.
And ones I can add to the list.
Okay. I think Gerald spoke to potential increase of purchasing power, I think, throughout the district, so we don't have to recover that one. Don't know that he specifically touched on a potential to increase actual student achievement in the district through in-classroom support of things. That would come from realized efficiency gains, where we would streamline in other parts of the district. That money could be freed up and make us more flexible in certain regards. He talked about a critical mass for expanse of curriculum and extracurricular activities, athletics. I don't know that we talked about the enhanced support for what we might consider to be under-supported programs at this point. We can probably all think of some athletic program or even some extracurricular activity that is not supported in the way that we would like for it to be. I thought about that just because we have had a long tradition of even community organizations, quarterback club, night club, and those organizations supporting some of these specifically athletic programs. And it's a good thing, but we have to remember why that comes about in the first place. It's because there's always a need there to better support those programs.
So how write that one down?
Well,
More support?
Enhanced support for under-supported programs, if you want.
Okay.
I'll give you a head start there before I start again. I thought about the increased networking opportunities for our faculty and staff. I think our local teacher community does a pretty good job of getting together, whether that's cross division lines or in different schools. I know that happens, but I also can't think of any reason that having our teachers in a consolidated district wouldn't make that easier for everybody involved. I have also in front of me quite a bit. I have not read all of this. These three separate studies. One of them's 110 pages long. I think the other two are a fair bit smaller. But when you start down the rabbit hole, if you will, on school consolidation, if you have a conclusion in mind, you can find the data to back it up. I promise you. Somebody somewhere with a PhD behind their name has told you, hey, here's how it is. That's frustrating if you're actually looking to find some sort of a consensus. I did not find any magic bullet in there that says here is how you make everything great and go away, but one thing that I did find, as it relates specifically to school expenditures, small schools tend to be less efficient than they could be, and very large schools tend to be less efficient than they could be. And what that naturally tells me is there's some space in the middle there to where a compromise can be, where you can maybe get some of the best of both worlds between a smaller school that offers more intimate class sizes, more one-on-one instructional opportunity, but a school of a size that can take advantage of some economies of scale that are just naturally present whenever you're producing anything, whether it be widgets in a factory or students in a classroom. 3,000 students tends to be safely in that Goldilocks zone, and it just so happens that our proposed district would be about that number. So I think there is an opportunity for us to land in a district that is squarely inside of operational efficiencies from a financial standpoint, but then also from an instructional standpoint. We're not creating a behemoth of a district that is unwieldy and is unprecedented. I ran some numbers just from neighboring communities as well as the state. Our proposed district in, I think, this year's fall membership numbers would be 3,154 students if you take both divisions and combine them. The state average, and this is including Fairfax County. Fairfax County is massive. It's 187,830 students, I believe. If you count that, the state average is 9,777 children per school district. So our proposed district would be slightly less than 1/3 of that. So not a behemoth by any stretch. It is a little unfair, Fairfax being a statistical anomaly. I think they're the only division north of 100,000 students in the entire state. So if we take them away from that equation, our average still comes to 8,417 students throughout the state. Again, our consolidated district would be less than half the size of the average of the state. I then took a look at the neighboring districts around us, what you might consider Western Virginia. 13 districts: Bath, Highland, Augusta, Bedford, Buena Vista, Craig, Botetourt, Rockbridge, Roanoke City, Roanoke County, Salem, Waynesboro, and Giles County. And the average enrollment of all of those districts, and of course we've got the big boys with Roanoke City and Roanoke County, 14,000 apiece, all the way up to our neighbors to the north at 204 in their entire district. So we've got a representation. But of all of those 13 surrounding counties, the average size district is 5,164. So even from a regional standpoint, what we're creating is still 2,000 kids less, than what the regional average would be. I had number 11, and it was what I think is my most important part of this, but we already covered it with what Gerald talked about. In all of this stuff and all of those numbers that I just spat out, community cohesion and unity doesn't show up really anywhere there. In the list of cons I think that we might talk about here shortly, some people do express concern that they lose control over their district by consolidating into a larger one, but I think with our county at large, I think our history together, and then when you just sit down and think about, from Rich Patch to Clifton Forge to Potts Creek to Falling Springs, wherever, we're way more the same than we are different, it seems to me, especially when we're talking about educating our children. So I don't mean to re-emphasize that one, but in all of the stuff that I looked at, that I think was one of my most important parts. So I did re-emphasize it. Sorry about that.
Well, seeing as this is just my first meeting, and I wasn't expecting this, most of what Mr. Franson said here, a lot of those would have been in my pluses, particularly wider variety of curriculum choices. I believe that would help our electives, particularly language and the arts, this type of thing. And also when you get to a more cohesive population, a more sense of community, I think that would be a plus. The cons, I don't think, are really cons. I think they're just issues that we need to work on and find solutions to. And but right now, I wasn't really, since I just got back from Europe, I'll go on to the next one.
All right, Ms. Hunter.
I have a list of cons.
All right. We ready to move on to cons?
Real quick, David Pond Road.
Yes, sir.
I think with the Children's Services Act, by combining the two systems, we may be able to become more efficient in how we handle the children that fall into that. Other systems have programs that they use, but with a combination, it may be more efficient than what we have right now.
And that's something that you all and the Board of Supervisors have got hit with big time.
Yeah, it is, but I think it's manageable. One other thing I don't.
Children's Services Act.
Yeah. I don't think I saw anything about maybe being able to assist the teacher more with classroom needs. Right now it's kind of, it is what it is. Maybe an opportunity to assist more.
All right. I got one thing that I'd like to bring up as a pro before we move on to cons as well is busing. And busing efficiencies, but also two different sides to that. One is kids not riding the bus as long, but one is also the idea of not driving past schools to get to schools. And I think that there's a quality of life benefit there, and there's also a financial savings. You know, Mr. Katalka and I have ridden those long bus rides, and you know, it's nice for a kid to be able to eat breakfast at their house and drink their water or orange juice or whatever, and not have to worry about going to the bathroom on their way to school. So busing efficiencies, both quality of life and I guess making them more efficient districts, I guess would be the. I know that I figured it up that the kids that ride the bus past Edgemont, Jeter Watson going to Callahan from Potts Creek, they spend like an extra 180 hours. All the kids spend an extra 180 hours a year on the school bus. You know, making that, I mean, that's a lot of time. So that's one that as a representative of my district, that's very important, I think, to my district. Are we good with the pros for right now?
Before we get to cons, can we come up with a better name than cons? Like
Negatives.
hurdles or negatives, or, you know, get rid of the negative connotation. Obstacles would be much better.
We're gonna put obstacles in red.
That's good.
Okay. So everybody feels pretty good about this?
But you know what the obstacle is, don't you?
So you can get over
It's
it.
when you take it's what you see when you take your eyes off the goal. You see an obstacle. Here's your eye.